What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of today's Tiny House Parking Spot.
How's it going, everybody? We left Santa Fe, New Mexico, and as you saw last week, we were at the amazing Meow Wolf. And we drove down to Corrales, New Mexico, which is just a few short miles from Albuquerque. I love Corrales so far because it's got this, it's a beautiful rural village vibe, but it's only just a few minutes from this big city. So you kind of have like the best of both worlds. And our current parking spot is extra special because it's something kind of unique. I think it's the first time we've ever experienced this, which is a schoolie homestead.
It's exactly what it sounds like, a schoolie homestead.
Our friends Brandon and Ashley of TrebVenture, they're a family of 5. They live in a beautiful custom school bus conversion. They bought a piece of land here about a year ago, like an acre and a half.
I think it's about an acre and a half, yeah.
So an acre and a half is a skinny lot.
It's a real skinny lot.
But it's very secluded, and we'll show you. They've created a little oasis out here with this like multifunctional outdoor living space. It's pretty spectacular. And I guess down the road they plan to build a small house, but still have spots available for visiting schoolies or tiny houses or vans or whatnot.
Yeah. So we'll be back at some point in the future.
We're here with our friends, the TrebVenture family. This is an adorable family of 5, and we got Ashley. Hello.
Hi.
And Brandon.
Hey guys.
And who are you? Are you Jackson?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And who are you?
Kaden.
Kaden. Good job. And Regan. So this is such a gorgeous tiny house.
Right.
How long have you guys been in the bus?
So,
3 years.
almost, but
2 years.
we first moved into our bus in 2016, so a little over 2 years.
Oh, awesome.
Wow,
And you guys
3
did all
years.
the work yourselves, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean,
She did all the work.
we hired out a few things like drawers after I made them, and then found out that was something that should be left to the professionals. And we had our shower done by a friend.
Oh, right. Those are 2 like really complicated things. Especially because you guys have an awesome skylight above. Skylights freak me out so bad because of like leaking. You know, like you get everything just right, and you're just like, please don't leak.
Ashley, you're being very humble. You did a lot of stuff on this bus.
Oh, I did.
You did a
You
hell of a
did
lot.
all of it. She did mostly all the woodwork.
Yeah.
All the woodwork. That's awesome.
Have you ever
That's-
done woodworking before?
I had done little things like an entertainment center
Yeah.
and a coffee table, but nothing like, not couches,
Yeah.
so, or beds or anything like that.
What's amazing and really unique about you guys is you have this like homestead property. Like, this is not a common thing for people to have, like,
No.
you know, RV parks, backyards, which can be awesome. Don't discount backyards. How did you find this property? Were there any like challenges, or just kind of like look out?
So Ashley and I grew up in Rio Rancho, a suburb of Albuquerque, and Corrales is sort of between Rio Rancho and Albuquerque. So we've always wanted to live here. You know, it's down by the Rio Grande River. It's beautiful. It's green, and you know, we always keep an eye out for land. And just so happened, an acre and a half came up for sale. And before we actually purchased the land, I went down and talked to the building inspector and asked him, hey, is it okay if I park a school bus and live in it on the property? And it turns out that Corrales has no restrictions for any of this kind of activity.
Yeah. Wow.
And so we were really fortunate. So we pulled the bus here about a year ago and have been working on our property to kind of create a little oasis here.
Awesome. What?
And you did.
Yeah.
You did so far. It's
Well,
amazing.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Because you guys have your house, you have outdoor lounge, and what's in the storage? What do you guys use the storage unit for?
We typically use it for Brandon's office because he works remote, and then also for schooling the kids. In the winter months, I tend to just do it right here because we have to turn the heater on or get it warm. But during the summer, spring, and fall, we'll just wake up and go in there, and then I can put them to work, and I come back in and like make breakfast or, you know, go back out.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it also serves as like a second living room for us. So when we like host, the kids can play in there because we have like the Legos and fun toys in there and video games, so they can go in there and play, and then we can still enjoy like, you know, having dinner in here or sitting out there by the grill. And
oh, that's
so
great.
It makes it so we can still host even though we're living in a tiny space.
Ashley, where could people follow you?
Well, typically we use Instagram. That's where you're going to get a hold of me. I answer all my DMs and all my comments. So you can follow us on Instagram at TrebVenture. We also have a Facebook page and a YouTube channel that has like 4 videos on it. So you can follow us at any of those social media outlets. Yeah.
Right on. Well, you got to start somewhere on YouTube.
Yeah, I guess so.
Definitely check them on Instagram. They have an amazing page and some really genuine stories about their family experience. And thank you guys again for hosting us.
And don't leave.
Okay, we're never gonna leave.
What'd you say?
Don't leave.
Can we come back and visit you again?
No.
Say anytime.
No.
We gotta stay forever, or that's it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for having us. Can you high five?
No.
Okay. You're sassy.
While Ashley and Brandon are homesteading here on this piece of property, they're slowly bringing in the things that they need to basically exist. So they're setting up the systems. They put in a well, and right back here you can see there's actually a power pole, and they're leaning against it is a 30 amp service, which he hasn't set up yet. But I was able to plug into a 15 amp, which is really awesome, but if there's a GFI on there, it pops the breaker on the GFI. Brandon actually knows exactly what's wrong with it, so he's gonna help me out with my system and fix the wiring so it doesn't do that anymore. One of the amazing things about New Mexico is the landscape. I mean, look at it back there. That's the Sandias Mountains, and that means watermelon, if I'm not mistaken. And they turn like watermelon colors. It's really, really beautiful at sunset. Let me show you some of the problems with this kind of sandy landscape. So here's our spot for the last week. And as you can see, it's really, really sandy. Got an extension cord running into the house, and water is actually set up over there. That's my water line going right there. So it's awesome that these guys have this, but it was a little damp when we pulled up here. One, look at all the mud that stuck to the tires. How ridiculous is that? These are the ruts we created as we were trying to park. It was before the hose and stuff was out, so it was a lot of work to try to get this house to a level spot. I mean, look at under the truck too, man. It was a lot of back and forth trying to get this house level is basically what the problem was. The right side of the house kept sinking into the sand, and the levelers would just mush down. Eventually, Alexis found a nice, it wasn't really flat, but it was solid. It wasn't wet. It worked out pretty well, so the house is pretty level now. And even just after 2 days later, all of this is pretty much dry, so it was just because they've had so much rain. Hey.
Hey, want a seltzer water?
I always want a seltzer water.
Have we mentioned that we're addicted to seltzer water? It's not beer. I'll prove it.
Totally addicted to seltzer water.
They're so good. Safeway or Kroger, you can get, what is it, like 48 for like $9 or something. If you have a seltzer problem and you don't have a Soda Stream, our problem is the Soda Stream's too tall for a tiny house kitchen, so what are you gonna do? Oh yeah, as Christian mentioned, what's so awesome about Brandon offering help is that that's such a common thing in the tiny living community. People offering to help other people because we all have similar, tiny house problems. So it's quite kind.
So while we were here in Corrales, we also got to hang out with another schoolie family, the Nomadic Millers.
And then had Tiny House Hangs, a favorite. This place is actually kind of like a haven for schoolie families. There's like
there's a couple of schoolies here.
No, there's like 4 or 5 schoolie families around. If you want to connect with those folks, Corrales might be the place for you, especially because this area has basically no restrictions on RV parking, full-time, long-term. So definitely look up the details on that. But generally speaking, the lack of restrictions means that a schoolie or an RV or a tiny house on wheels can buy a piece of property or park on someone else's property and not have to worry about eviction. And you don't have to go through all the advocacy efforts to, get zoning ordinances approved and that sort of thing.
See, I told you New Mexico is awesome.
Yeah, it's his favorite state. So. Next stop, White Sands National Park. I am so stoked because the pictures look absolutely magical, and our buds at TrevVenture gave us a great lead on a boondocking spot. So tune in next Tuesday for a new episode of today's Tiny House Parking Spot.
And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye!
Take it easy.
Hey guys, Alexis and Christian here with Tiny House Expedition.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And click left or right for more tiny house stories and tours.